What's going on, guys? It's Lely 2SXE bringing you some gameplay impressions from second PES 2013 demo. I'm going to start off by saying some good things about the demo and then go on to where it actually needs improving in time for the full release. Now I'll start off where PES 2012 was really bad and it needed a lot of work on it. I'm glad to say it looks like they have put a lot of effort in this, and it's the goalkeeping. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I mean it was such a big issue for me last time. If I had relatives over, I'd rather let them watch hardcore porn than watching me get fucked like I did in PES 2012, because the goalkeeping was just so bad in PES 2012. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they never made good saves, but the amount of shit goals they let in for me, it's like they never had the animations to save shit shots. And because the shooting was so shit in PES 2012, you see a lot of shit goals going. Shots that were like right next to their arms, all they had to do was just like sidestep and catch it. And what they do is they sit on the spot like they're having a shit and then just drop and let the ball roll. But for this one, their goalkeeping is just so much better. They have so much more animations to actually save these pathetic shots, and then the actual behaviour of what they actually do, as in terms of tipping the ball out for corners and just keeping it out of danger zones, they actually behave so much more like proper goalkeepers now. Now I'm glad to say there aren't any issues for me when it comes to goalkeepers' shot saving abilities or how they actually behave, because 9 times out of 10 they normally make the correct decision of what to do. So when it's one-on-ones, they know when to come out at the right time, and when they take like long range shots, they actually look to tip around the post at the right times. So if you expect them to catch a ball, they normally catch it. Now my only issue when it actually comes to goalkeeping is when the goalkeepers have the ball in their hands. The kicks aren't too bad, but when it comes to throwing the ball, short throws are okay, you don't expect a lot of pace on them or anything like that, but the long throws, they're just so loopy and too high, and they take too long to get to where you want it to go. So what happens is you throw a ball to one of your midfielders, but because it's in the air for so long, the opposition midfielder gets in front of your midfielder a lot of the times and then just ends up robbing it, because the ball's just too loopy and it doesn't even look right either, and it doesn't feel right, to be honest. So I'd like to see that get worked on, but that's my only issue when it comes to goalkeepers. Now moving on to the defending in this game, which has been improved a lot in terms of AI and how much control we actually have over the defenders. If you're thinking what do I mean by that, what I mean is in PES 2012 there used to be situations where you were just getting pummeled, your box was just getting filled with crosses and the defenders would not look to get out. So you were trying to break away and the defenders would just sit back, so when you lose the ball they've already got a deep defensive line and they just invite pressure, and obviously you're trying to break forward and they still wouldn't actually come out a lot of the times. So in PES 2013 a lot of the times they actually look to break out as soon as possible, and they do step up and they do have a naturally higher defensive line in this game, so you're not always inviting pressure in your box. If you're one of those players who actually like to put a lot of effort in the defending into the game, well then you will reap a lot of rewards, because the mistakes that are made now in this game are normally down to you, not down to the AI, just keeping everyone on side. So in PES 2012 we used to have these situations where the left winger is running at one of your defenders and your left back is on the other side of the pitch and he's keeping everyone on side, and obviously you can't see that. So you're trying to step up and your defenders, your centre backs are actually stepping up, but your left back just literally is like walking there doing nothing. There's no one actually on him and he's keeping everyone on side, and then the left winger just has an easy pass to play into the middle because he's been kept on stupidly on side by the left back. Well, those mistakes are now down to you. The only person who normally keeps him on side now is your centre backs, the ones that you're normally controlling or whichever, because sometimes I defend like it's PES 2012 and I keep running back not realising that I'm keeping everyone on side, but that's normally the user's mistake, that's normally my mistake. So I'm glad to say they've actually worked a lot better as a unit now. Another new thing which PES have added this year, which FIFA added last year, is now you actually have to time your standing tackles, where in FIFA you press circle to tackle. In PES 2013 you actually have to double tap X to tackle, and it's a lot more responsive. It's better because it gives us greater control. Now moving on to another part of the field where you need it to be strong and consistent, and PES 2012 did a good job at this already, and PES 2013 just made it that bit sharper, that bit better, which is the midfield. They behave like they should, so your defensive mids cover your centre backs when they're out of position, your left mids, right mids and attacking mids make good runs into the box. You'll see one straight after this game where Dimir is on the right mid and he actually drifts in between the left back and the centre back, and it's not just straight darting runs, they actually bend their runs, and it's just a good run to see. And they don't just make it for goal, but they make it so they can actually drag defenders away, so you can run into the box with who you're dribbling with, and so they're creating space for you to run into or pass into. So they do behave like proper midfielders, and it's nice to see that, because that's where football games is won and lost normally, it's the midfield. So if you've got great control over there, you can actually play how you want to, and it's more your style on the pitch. Now my only issue with the midfield well, it's not just midfield, it's actually passing in general, which is when you try to put in a full power bar sometimes, you expect it to go flying across the pitch, or something like that, or just hit really hard. But what happens is, a lot of the time, I don't know if it's just my demo or something like that, but what happens is the ball gets chipped to the closest player next to you, and then what happens is that can be a really dangerous pass because you're intending it to go really far, and I'd rather they overhit the ball than just dink it to the next player, because he could be marked and you're trying to purposely avoid him by putting in a lot of power, and he just dinks to him. And like I said, I prefer it to be overhit and go for a throw than to play such a dangerous pass, especially when that's not your intended target. So that's my only issue when it actually comes to the passing. Now when it comes to shooting, PES 2012 was so bad, it was so uncontrolled, so weak at times, and even when you think you get into grips with it, it can suddenly just decide to change its behaviour on you, and it just lacked its control, and it had a real lack of power in there as well. So sometimes you go for a long range and the ball would be hit so soft, and unless you had someone who had really great power in the shots, that's the only time the ball would actually travel at great speed. In PES 2012 we didn't even have a great deal of control over our shooting, so sometimes you take a shot at the far post and you'll end up shooting at the near post. But in PES 2013 we've got all that control back, and they've added a shot variation which is the knuckle shot. So if you click shoot just before you actually strike the ball, so you click square and then you click square just before he's actually about to hit it, then the ball will start to deviate in the air. So we've all seen that shot where someone hits the ball and then it moves left and then moves right, and it makes it so much harder for the goalkeepers to save it. Well, that's in this game now as well, and it's not a gimmick. You're not guaranteed goals from it, you're not even actually guaranteed to hit the target from it, so you have to time it at the right time as well, and if you don't time it well, then the ball will just end up flying well over, and it's just another feature to have in the game. It can add for a nice spicy shot from about 40 yards, and it obviously works over a better distance, so you've got to find the right timing of it, and I think it's a nice feature to have. It captures that unpredictability of the real game as well, and the strikers actually behave like proper strikers as well, so they don't always just make runs into the box wanting goals. They'll actually make space for the midfielders to run into, and if they run off into offside positions, depending how alert they are, because there's actual stat for responsiveness, so if they're really high in responsiveness, they'll always come back into the onside position. So if they realise they're run offside, they'll quickly come back on, so they won't just dangle around in offside positions. So they do behave really well as well, so I'm glad to say there's no issues when it comes to the actual behaviour of the strikers, and it looks like they fixed the shooting as well, so hopefully they don't upset the balance, because I think they've got a good balance between the shooting and the goalkeeping, so hopefully that all stays the same. Everything I've spoken about is to do with the core of the game. I haven't really mentioned too many new things about the game, like the ability with your first touch control, so if you zip a pass and so on, if you click R2 at the right time, you can cushion the ball down nicely, and if you click in the right analog stick, you can actually flick the ball up, so you can avoid challenges as your first touch, or if you got your back to goal, you want to flick it up and then flick it over your head, you can do that as well. And what you're seeing right now is just that run I was talking about with Di Maria, but what you're also going to be seeing right now is the reason why you should buy someone like a Xabi Alonso or Paul Scholes, Xavi, anyone that's got a really good pass on their game, and which is predominantly a passer. Like, I'm talking like a top passer in this game, because they're the type of players in this game which you can turn defense into attack with one pass, and I don't mean just like a normal pass, I mean like a killer goal scoring opportunity. They've spoken about player ID, how they've actually captured a lot of players' running styles and their striking the ball styles, but only when you play the game you realise how good of a job they've done by capturing player ID like Scholes and Xabi Alonso. If you can capture the greatness of Paul Scholes in a computer game, then you know you've got a good game on your hands. And I'm glad to say they've actually made players like Scholes really important, just as important as they are in real life, into their game, and in games they haven't done that in the past. Scholes has just been another player who can just play the normal simple passes, but now they've made him such a key player in my teams. So hopefully you enjoyed this video and picked up a tip on who to sign for Master League Online. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and remember to subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys.